Awaited escapably, they were going to continue on with Aeneas' story, where he finally meets Dido face to face, seeing what kind of ruler she is. Where we last left off, one of Aeneas' captains had washed up on Carthage, away separated from the rest of Aeneas and his ships, and was begging Dido for help. He said the whole thing was a misunderstanding. People were accusing him of leading an invasion force, and he literally just says, "Just want to find our king and keep going." Dido responds to this in literally the best way possible. She asks, "Do you need any help? Are your people hurt? Do you need food? Do you need water?" And basically shows that she wants to be a good host, that she is sympathetic, and that she does care about these other people. Aeneas steps out of the crowd. Venus had put like sort of this cloud over him and Achates to keep him from being recognized, and it billows away, as you can see in this lovely painting that we've got here. He introduces himself. This captain, so amazed to see Aeneas alive, literally throws himself at Aeneas' feet, weeping with joy, which shows right away that Aeneas is the kind of king who inspires intense loyalty in his subjects and real affection. Dido says that they should all celebrate, and the Trojans agree. Aeneas sends back to the ships that they should bring back some gifts and bring all the Trojans into the city for a huge banquet celebrating this reuniting here. As this is going on, Juno and Venus are looking down, and for the first time in maybe 2 decades, they realize that they've got common ground. These two have hated each other ever since the whole Apple of Discord incident that kicked off the Trojan War several epochs ago. And now, well, Juno points it out. It's like, your favorite people have come to my favorite city, and there's finally a chance for this to work together. Dido is single, Aeneas is single. Dido has a new city. The Trojans are looking for a place to live. Carthage needs more soldiers. It needs more people in it. And I think that this is the perfect chance for these two to come together and to not, mess everything up. Those two should get married. Venus is looking at this, and the way she's looking at it, Aeneas is emotionally vulnerable. He's gone through a really difficult time lately. And, well, there's someone who's a good match for him. Looking back through the last video, you should see a lot of things that Aeneas and Dido have in common. For my students, I'm just going to ask you guys to think about this. But she agrees, but it's one of those deals where both of them are expecting the other one to turn it to their own advantage. So this is a very, very cautious working together, but they decide to actually come together and work. Venus sends Cupid, her immortal son, down to Carthage, and he disguises himself as Ascanius. Venus takes the real Ascanius up to Olympus for an evening and sends Cupid down there to make this happen, to make the two of them fall in love. When it actually happens is when Aeneas is telling his story, when he tells the story of the fall of Troy, of the last couple of years, of all the stuff that happened before the storm, which is technically when the Aeneid itself starts, even though we've told things a little bit more in like chronological order. With Cupid's help, Dido finds herself completely fascinated with Aeneas, just completely into him, head over heels. She's conflicted, though. Her husband is still recently dead, but it's her sister, Anna, which is an extremely common name today, and seems almost out of place with names like Dido and Aeneas and Achates and stuff like that around here. But Anna points out what a good thing this would be for Carthage, and that she can't really be alone forever, and she shouldn't have to do this to herself. Dido finds it hard to concentrate. She literally, the way Virgil describes it, is that like the construction projects stop all over the city because Dido isn't there to manage it, which again shows how important she is to how the city is run. They decide to get to know each other doing what nobles do for fun back in that days, which is go hunting. They go out on a hunt, and Juno and Venus look at each other and say, you know what, this is the moment to make this really happen. Jupiter is so happy that his wife and this other goddess are not fighting anymore that he enthusiastically decides to help and sends down a storm while they're hunting. Aeneas and Dido very conveniently get separated, and they end up finding a cave to take shelter in overnight. And, well, things get out of hand. After this, they start hanging around all the time. And the Trojans take weeks and weeks to fix their ships. The damage was severe. And then Dido and Aeneas are still spending all their time together. He's given her tons of gifts. There was that bed that someone had dragged out of the palace of Priam. There was a sword that had belonged to Hector. There was um, gowns and clothing woven by Helen. She's giving him gifts. He's got this great purple cloak that he's wearing everywhere. And, well, the thing is, Aeneas does still have a destiny. And this is why Venus was so okay with the whole thing there, because Aeneas, as far as he's concerned, they didn't get married or anything like that. Dido thinks of it differently. In the ancient world, basically, if two people say they're married, they're married. And this is one of those situations where these two needed to communicate more, and it's going to cause them a lot of grief. Get a happy year together. 1 year before the Trojans start, grumbling, hey, we were supposed to keep going. I know Aeneas is doing well. The Carthaginians are saying, the Trojans are fitting in here pretty well. He's our king now, right? Like, this is just how this goes. We have a king and a queen. And word spreads out, and Iarbas, that guy that Dido had snubbed all that time ago, finds out about this and basically complains to Jupiter. He says, hey, what gives? I'm a king. She said she was never going to remarry, which, again, she was not exactly that explicit about. What's going on here? Jupiter looks down at this and says, you know what? Yeah, time's up on this one. And he sends Mercury down to talk to Aeneas. Mercury tells Aeneas, have you forgotten your destiny? Are you really going to abandon what belongs to your family at this point? Even if you don't care anymore, your son is destined to be a great king in Italy. Are you really going to take that away from him? And of course, being a god, they know exactly how to pull Aeneas' strings, because what does Aeneas care about more than anything else in the world? He cares about duty. He cares about honor. And with his father dead, the family, the real blood relations that he's got left are his son, because again, as far as Aeneas is concerned, he and Dido aren't married. Aeneas is going to screw up a lot of things in a row here. Do not be like Aeneas in this situation. First off, he has his Trojans go out and start preparing the fleet before he tells Dido. He can't put the words together. He can't go over there. He doesn't know what to say right away. So he says he's going to start preparation on it and then tell her once the right moment happens. Dido, as we saw before, is extremely involved in her city. So when 2,000 people, some odd, start packing up ships, she hears about it. And, well, Dido's reaction is entirely appropriate at this point. She's furiously angry at him. She feels betrayed. Literally, the first thing she calls him is liar or deceiver. And she rails at Aeneas, how could you do this? We spent a year together. I mean, you're going to completely abandon me. Did you just use me? Is that all this was? And Aeneas has nothing good to say here. He literally says, I don't really want to go, but the gods of Olympus are telling me to. If you ever find yourself in a bad breakup, don't use this line. Don't say the gods of Olympus are making you go and you don't want to, because it didn't work for Aeneas and it's not going to work for you. Dido is furiously angry, sad, all these negative emotions at the same time, and she says, fine, go, leave. I hope your ship sinks and you die in the middle of the ocean screaming my name, wishing you'd stayed. And she huffs back into the city. Aeneas, extremely conscious of how badly he's screwed this up, turns around, looks to his soldiers, looks to his people, and has them keep packing the ships up. They leave that night. He doesn't dishonor his family. He doesn't, upset the gods any further. And as Aeneas is sailing away, he looks back and he sees a bonfire at the beach. And he feels this awful tug at his heart. He knows he's messed up. He's done something bad. And he wishes that he could get advice, that there was anybody else to turn to. He doesn't even have his father, who had died before he got into Carthage. Aeneas feels very alone, very lost here, but at least he's doing what the gods have told him to do. Many people comment here wondering what Aeneas is doing, messing up so badly. But the thing is, for the Romans, the idea was duty first. That pietas, that piousness that makes Aeneas who he is, had to be there. It's worth noting that this was written for the first emperor Augustus. And Augustus's last big enemy was Mark Antony, or Marcus Antonius. who went off to Egypt, married an African queen, and betrayed Rome. Aeneas going to Africa and being tempted and then not doing it is a jab at this already defeated enemy of Augustus, showing, Augustus would be doing the right thing, and Augustus is like Aeneas. We'll see more in the next video. It's still a pretty rough epic from here. Things can be kind of nasty, kind of dark, kind of nasty in it. But I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.